Abortion is defined as the termination of a pregnancy by removal or expulsion of an embryo or fetus. It is also defined as the deliberate termination of a human pregnancy, most often performed during the first 28 weeks of pregnancy. This is the sound of life. This is also the sound of life. So abortion can also be defined as the intentional ending of a life of an unborn baby. I have visited the Office of Executive Director for the Evangelical Fellowship of Zambia, Bishop Andrew Mwenda. I need to understand what the Christian stance on abortion is. What really does the Bible say about abortion?
The first part I need you to know is that we believe as a church that we are created in the image of God. Okay? We therefore affirm the unique value of all human life. You understand that? And that the church, literally, believe me, I'll be coming to the scripture that I think of, believes that life begins at conception. Not when they're 3 months pregnant or 5 months pregnant. No, it begins at conception. So for us as a church, we literally value all human life of a baby, unborn baby, and the church condemns any arbitrary destruction of any human being at any stage of human development. Scripture, Exodus 20 verse 13 simply says, you shall not murder. Now, murder simply means willingly do something or kill somebody or get rid of a life.
Hospital. Hospital. Kabwata, hospital. Hello. Assistant Mkwela.
I have decided to catch a bus to the University Teaching Hospital UTH to get information on abortion in Zambia. Dr. Swebi Macha, Zambia Association of Gynecologists and Obstetricians President, is talking to me. He says abortion-related deaths have reduced in Zambia because women have been accustomed to safe abortion. Would you tell me the statistics of safe abortions being conducted in the country in a given year?
Okay, so what we have mainly is abortion-related deaths,
Okay.
which account for among the top 5 causes of maternal mortality. In the last 20 years, we have seen a decline in abortion-related mortality. In 2006, we were talking of 30% of our maternal mortality or deaths were attributed to abortion. In 2020, that number declined to 9%. This is according to our maternal and perinatal audits that are conducted weekly by Ministry of Health. So in the whole year 2020, only 9% of our mothers died from abortion-related mortality.
Why is that so?
We have put up a lot of interventions. High on the list is the launch of standards and guidelines in 2009. These guidelines guided health providers on how to handle abortion issues, which looked at it from a comprehensive approach. What do I mean? Not only did we guide health workers on how to offer safe abortions, but we also looked at prevention through provision of family planning.
Safe abortion is encouraged in Zambia, where the procedure is undertaken and supervised by a trained medical practitioner. This is to reduce dangerous and costly unsafe abortions. But is there such a thing as a safe abortion? Safe for who? Do safe abortions truly preserve life? If so, which life? According to my lowest estimation, nothing short of 500,000 abortions take place in Zambia each year. In 2020, Maristops published that they had rendered close to 100,000 cases of what they call safe abortions and prevented 250,000 cases of what they call unintended pregnancies. These numbers are an admission that just one organization facilitated close to 350,000 abortions in one calendar year. These statistics beg the question, how many more abortions do the University Teaching Hospital and the PPAZ facilitate each year? Since PPAZ have been operational in Zambia for 51 years, how many abortions have they facilitated in that time? Is abortion murder? Human rights lawyer and member of the Council of Law Association of Zambia, Daniel Liberty, weighs in. According to the interpretation of the law, is abortion the same as murder?
Again, it depends on what angle you're looking at it from. Murder is very clear in terms of the definition of murder, and abortion is the termination of a pregnancy. So if your inclination is to consider a fetus as a human being like you and me, then you will tilt in the direction of an abortion being murder. But if you do not have that inclination, you would argue otherwise. It would be interesting to see if someone actually does take up a matter like that and goes to a court and see how the courts interpret it. But otherwise, if you look at the definition of murder in the penal code and you look at the definitions or rather the description of abortion under the Termination of Pregnancy Act, you will discover that the devil is in the detail as to whether or not that constitutes murder. It's for one to argue and for one to try and prove before the courts of law.
I visited the Planned Parenthood Association of Zambia, PPAZ, an organization that complements government's efforts in offering safe abortions to women who seek the services. I'm here for PPAZ Director of Programs.
Hello.
How are you?
Fine. I'm here to see Mr. Lester Piri.
Mr. Lester?
Yes.
You are?
Eva from Radio Christian Voice. He's expecting me.
Oh.
If I walked in and my reason involves how ashamed I am to carry the pregnancy, and what basis will the abortion be offered to me?
Yes, now there will be an assessment. There will be an evaluation of you as a woman, because you just can't walk in and say, I don't want a pregnancy. There are deep reasons involved towards that, and it's not because, it's because my boyfriend refused. No. Those are just some of the reasons that women present, right? But with the professionals doing the job and they do a psychiatric evaluation of someone, and they realize that if she was to continue with the pregnancy, the consequences would be worse than if the pregnancy is terminated, and that's what the law says. Then they would actually advise to terminate. But the request in that case starts from the woman. The woman will walk into a facility and say, I'm asking for this service, and the reason is this, right? So they don't just go like, vachite vabwera vafunotsosa mimba indano nokukusaidia huku. Then it's like ShopRite, you just walk in with a pregnancy and you walk out. No.
Mr. Piri says there are medical and social reasons presented by women seeking abortion, but that evaluation to go ahead or not lies with professional practitioners.
The reasons are many. Some of them could be medical. It could be because she's been given medical advice that it has to be her or the baby. It could be medical reasons as to the child might be born with a serious defect. There's also social issues, like somebody falls pregnant, then suddenly the father of the child says, I don't want to have anything to do with it. For others, it's just the issue of shame. You are the role model.
Abortion legalization adds to moral battles facing the Zambian communities. Who has the right to terminate the life of an unborn baby? Is it right to terminate a pregnancy formed due to rape? What if the woman conceived out of incest? And what if the life of the mother is in danger if she goes through with the pregnancy? Or what if the baby risks to be born with deformity? These are some of the alleged circumstances leading to legalization of abortion in Zambia. According to World Population Review dubbed countries where abortion is illegal 2023, only a handful of 24 countries in the world have outlawed abortion in any and all circumstances. Zambia is not among them. Rather, abortion is legalized on conditions provided for in the Termination of Pregnancy Act, Chapter 304 of the Laws of Zambia. Daniel Liberty, human rights lawyer and member of the Council of the Law Association of Zambia, spells out the Termination of the Pregnancy Act.
So Section 3.1 provides that subject to the provisions of this section, a person shall not be guilty of an offense under the law relating to abortion when a pregnancy is terminated by a registered medical practitioner if he and two other registered medical practitioners, one of whom has specialized in the branch of medicine in which the patient is specifically required to be examined before a conclusion could be reached that the abortion should be recommended, are of the opinion formed in good faith that the continuance of the pregnancy would involve a risk to the life of the pregnant woman, risk or injury to the physical or mental health of the pregnant woman, risk of injury to the physical or mental health of any existing children of the pregnant woman. And it goes on further.
The Act further says a woman is not guilty of terminating a pregnancy if there is a substantial risk that if the child were to be born, it would suffer from such physical or mental abnormalities as to be seriously handicapped. But who has the authority to end a life of an unborn baby? Is the law implying that only the physically and mentally fit should be afforded the right to life? Can we murder a baby if its birth threatens the mental well-being of the mother or an existing child? Are there circumstances that justify the murder of an unborn child? Zambia is a Christian nation, and this was the basis President Hakainde Hichilema used when he outlawed the death penalty not long ago. He said judgment is for God.
The New Dawn government has taken a decision, a big decision, to end the death penalty in our country. We will work with Parliament to run through this process as we transition away from the death penalty and focus on the preservation, rehabilitation of life while still delivering justice for all.
So then, if abortion is murder, why then has Zambia, a Christian nation, legalized the murder of unborn children? The church is normally consulted on national issues. Evangelical Fellowship of Zambia Executive Director Bishop Andrew Mwenda says the church could be more involved than they are currently. Does the church in this country have any say when it comes to law reforms?
It should have, but I don't think it is fully aware of what is going on.
Zambia Law Development Commission's mandate is to examine existing laws of Zambia and recommend or facilitate changes in legal systems with the aim of enhancing justice or efficiency in the legal system of Zambia. Mrs. Hope Chanda is Director and Commission Secretary. I would like to find out from the Zambia Law Development Commission on what it would take to reform the country's law on abortion.
Maybe let me start by briefly explaining how the law reform process starts. From government's perspective, a circular is normally issued by government assigning portfolios to different ministries. And the portfolios would either comprise of specific legislation that a ministry will be responsible for, or it will also be a subject matter or area that a ministry would be responsible for. Change of legislation that is initiated by government, then it will be initiated by the ministry that is responsible for that particular portfolio. So like the law on abortion, if a review would have to be commenced, then it would have to be commenced by the ministry that has the responsibility for that specific piece of legislation. Then sometimes legislation has also been commenced by way of advocacy by civil society organizations. In some cases, it has also been a result of judicial decisions, which in a number of cases, either an individual or civil society organizations have challenged the status quo or the position at law.
My question then could be, have there been any maneuvers to review the Chapter 304, the Termination of Pregnancy Act, since inception?
Not that we know of, but in the general discussions around administration of the Act, we do know that some of the difficulties, particularly in far-flung areas, has been the availability of the two doctors. And some of the discussions around changing that part of the law have been in relation to the availability of doctors.
Counsel Elijah Siatwambo from FB Nangzambo and Associates gives an explanation.
So the issue is, as it stands, the law on abortions is kind of grey, in that abortions are allowed. However, for an abortion to be considered legal, it has to be done under the circumstances of the Termination of Pregnancy Act. So any abortion that is done outside that law, if the provisions of the Termination of Pregnancy Act have not been followed when terminating a pregnancy, then whoever terminates a pregnancy outside the provision of the law commits an offense. And as it stands, such a person is liable to imprisonment.
Abortion, either termed as safe or unsafe, legal or illegal, results in the murder of an unborn child. This question lingers on. Who has the authority to end a life of an unborn baby? Is it the law? Or is there an authority higher than the law to be appealed to? The moral battle rages on. For Christian Voice, I'm Eva Hatton Tola Chanda.